During Christmas time, right, I would usually have like Christmas treats, biscuits and chocolates and everything for sale. So last Christmas I had those, and there was a particular biscuit. It was like cookies. I'd never bought them, and that was my first time. So the packaging looked absolutely divine, right? And you could open it and view the cookies in it, and it had a clear film over it, so you could actually see the biscuits in it, and all the biscuits looked absolutely amazing, right? So what happened was, most of the other biscuits and treats and everything, when people bought them, most of them will call back and say, oh my god, it tasted amazing, it was very luxurious, it was very rich, it was this, it was that. So this particular one, I was really looking forward to opening it, right? So I told myself, if I didn't sell it off by Christmas, I would open one. But it was really expensive, right? So I didn't just want to open it because obviously it was for sale. So anyway, by the end of December, I'd sold some, I had some left. And so eventually I kept pushing the date forward to open it, and eventually when I had other people with me, we eventually opened it, right? And we were expecting a treat, right? So everyone took one out of the cookies and everything. Everyone took different ones, and one by one we dropped it because it was the most horrid thing I'd ever tasted in my life. The packaging looked absolutely amazing. The biscuits looked so divine. The taste was horrible. One by one, everybody dropped their biscuits. Not only will I never buy it again, I will not buy anything from that brand or even advise anyone I know to do such. Now, the thing is, when a person, place, or thing does not serve its purpose, it attracts judgment. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the saying, fake it till you make it, right? And it really works in some situations, until somebody comes close enough to realize that it's all a lie, it's a facade. And when that happens, you not only lose either a friend, a client, or an acquaintance, you lose something even more expensive. You lose your credibility. Certain man needed a legal representative. He had some issues he needed to deal with, so he wanted a lawyer. Now, he didn't want to speak to anybody, any of the people he knew from the past. He wanted a fresh perspective, right? So he spoke to his colleague at work, and his colleague said, oh, there's this law firm I usually see, and people talk about it because of the way it looks and everything. You should go there and at least speak to somebody. So he went. The place was in a very expensive area, and everything. Now, the aesthetics of the whole place was designed to intimidate, right? So walking into that place, he already knew he would be paying through his nose, but he didn't mind. He was quite desperate for legal advice. Probably had to pay some fees or whatever, but then he asked for one of their most experienced associates. Anyway, he got to see somebody and he explained the situation and everything. By the time that meeting was done, he realized that it was a complete waste of his time, because even he had more knowledge than the person he was speaking to. Truth be told, it may be the particular person he spoke to. But then again, he asked for an experienced lawyer, right? So anyway, months after that, he was still talking about it. He was still telling people how disappointed he was. He was still advising people not to go there. A story you may better relate to is one from the Christian religion. Now, if you're not familiar with this, please look it up. What had happened was, Jesus got to Jerusalem and he was hungry. Then he saw a fig tree with leaves on it. So he went to pluck figs but found no fruit on it. He was so angered, he cursed the tree, and almost immediately it withered away. You may think, why does Jesus pour out his anger on the poor fig tree by cursing it, especially when it was recorded that it wasn't even the season for figs to grow? But if you know anything about fig trees, then you would know that fruit of a fig tree would usually appear before the leaves. That's the natural order of things. Now, even when it's not the right season, there's something called pre-figs that appears on the tree even before the leaves. They're like smaller version of the figs, and they're quite edible. So travelers tend to eat them a lot. So when Jesus cursed it, he did nothing bad, because the tree was a fake, a facade, and it attracted judgment. All Jesus did was state the truth about it, and it withered because it didn't serve its purpose. So it had no reason being there, deceiving people of its fruitfulness when it wasn't. To buttress this point, the following day, Jesus went into the temple and destroyed the wares of the traders. Again, the presence of the traders would seem quite inevitable because foreigners coming into Jerusalem to worship and offer sacrifices could not travel with animals. It wasn't feasible. So it was easier for them to purchase the animals at the temple. Now they also had to change money to the acceptable currency. So money changes were available as well. So the trading and everything that was going on wasn't supposed to be a bad thing. It was supposed to be for the good of the people. However, the courtyard of the temple where they were stationed was supposed to be set apart for the Gentiles wanting to worship God. Also, it was impossible for people within the temple worshiping, praying to God to focus and concentrate on what they're doing with all that noise going on outside with traders, animals, coins, and everything. All that defeats the purpose of the temple. Now, looking in from the outside, the temple looks like a place set aside for God's worship. However, when you get closer, you realize that it's a glorified marketplace. And Jesus destroyed it because when a person, place, or thing does not serve its purpose, it attracts judgment. What I'm saying is this: pay more time and attention on who you are, not your outward appearance. Now, should you look good on the outside? Absolutely. You should dress the way you want to be addressed. Let your focus be working on yourself. For instance, work on your mind. Study. Read books to elevate your intellect. Work on your spirit. Pray. Study the Word of God, irrespective of your religion. Be consistent with your place of worship so that you can know and understand God from a perspective other than yours. Work on your heart. Take the time out to heal from past hurts and pains so that you don't carry all that baggage into another relationship and the toxic cycle continues. Don't spend your free time on mindless chatter. Use that time wisely. Learn new skills so that you're constantly creating new sources of income. It's so amazing to be taken care of, especially as a woman, but it's much more dignified to earn your own money, no matter how little. Work on yourself so that when somebody comes close enough, they won't think they just interacted with a facade, an empty shell of a person. Because should that happen, you won't only be losing a friend, a client, or an acquaintance. You'll be losing something much more expensive. You'll lose your credibility. Namaste.